Oh, O'Ward goes around and hits the wall. Up in the air. Heavy contact for Patricio O'Ward.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
That's his spotter and driver coach, Jonathan George, talking to
Talk to me, are you
O'Ward.
okay? Pato, you copy, you 1-2.
That's a good sign that one of the safety workers gave a thumbs up. See his hands moving. Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's good news.
Scary few seconds.
Because
his head may be pinned in there so much he can't move it around much.
Yeah.
But he's handed the steering wheel off.
Very, very similar incident to what we saw for Felix Rosenqvist. Almost carbon copy of how he goes down to the low side to try and cross over that aero wake of the car ahead. And in doing so, you just go a little too aggressive, little too low too early in the corner, and the rear swap sends on you. Big impact, though. And I think that's Pato's first ever crash on an oval, even though he's done them in Indy Lights and the Road to Indy and Pro Mazda as well. That'll be his first impact.
It was in turn 2. He's at the middle of the backstretch of between turns 2 and 3. And good to see him climbing out of the car and looking at least relatively good. We'll get a full report in a little bit, but up and under his own power and no urgency from the AMR safety team.
Probably would have rung his bell pretty good. That was a solid thump up against the wall. Didn't look like it dissipated as much energy as the crash of Felix Rosenqvist, and a few additional looks here coming up on our screen. So essentially, the way the car spun was a carbon copy of Felix Rosenqvist, except the car didn't fully complete that 360 rotation. So he first hits with the front on the top. Oh boy. Lucky not to flip the car.
Yeah, it started to go over, but it stayed on the ground. And IndyCar has done some things to try to keep the cars from getting too far up in the air. And it started on that process, but didn't get too far off and came down on all fours. Let's watch it slowly.
So again, very similar, except again, doesn't get the same rotation as Felix Rosenqvist. And I think this angle of attack is definitely worse than the one that Felix Rosenqvist had. And look at how close he is to flipping over. And you see, if we can go back to that slow-mo shot there again and pause it while he's fully up in the air, we can show you what IndyCar's done from a technological perspective to prevent these things from falling over. But you see, trying to save it here. And that's just a vicious, look at how far forward his head goes. Oh boy. And you can just see immediately hands come off the steering wheel as soon as he knows he's in trouble. And you can see at the front of the tub here, so there's a couple of views that we want to give you. So here's the first one. So see him getting airborne right here. So let's pause it right here. So you notice these two little holes right here in the underside of the body. That was originally enclosed on the old body kit of this current Indy car. And basically created a huge surface area underneath the car that would essentially make it take off. But these little pockets right here help take off some of that pressure that's generated on the car and essentially removes the risk of them going airborne quite so much. And if we can have another look of the previous shot we had, the most worrying thing from a car perspective I'm seeing here with the crash of Pato O'Ward is that frontal impact. Man, That's a big impact. So again, if we can go back and look at another couple of these slow-mo shots, you'll see that because he hit at a 45-degree angle, essentially, with the front of the car, it ripped the nose off and essentially indented the tub of the car. So that carbon fiber monocoque, that cockpit of the car, will probably be a complete throwaway here, because big damage to the front corner of that tub.
Hey motorsports fans, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe before you go for all the latest news and highlights across motorsports.